So, guys, today is Wednesday, May 27th. Not that that matters. Um, this is your boy Chef. This is your boy Chef Man, and today we're going to be going over how to make black powder, which is gunpowder, basically. It's pretty much any black powder you make in your house is going to be pretty much the weakest black powder that you can get, possibly, because you're not using uh, lab grade scientific equipment or chemicals. You're just using, whatever you can find in your house with making what work with what you have. And by the way, I did all this by myself, so you can assure that this is 100% true and legit. It's backed by science. So here we go. About black powder. So obviously we have to start with the introduction. So black powder was first made by the Chinese for use in fireworks. It was then used later on in weapons and explosives in the 12th century, which I actually knew, history. It is very simple to make, but it is not very powerful or safe. And in fact, only about 50% of black powder is converted into hot gases when it is burned. The other half is mostly very finely burned particles. This is something I had to find out. I didn't know this by offhand, so proves I'm not super genius. There is one problem with black powder, and that is that it can be set off by static electricity, and it is actually prone to that. So this is bad, and it means that the material must be made with that the black powder must be made with wooden or clay or plastic tools. Anyway, or basically any insulative tools like rubber, those fake rubber spoons, that you have. Anyway, a misguided individual can manufacture black powder at home after reading this guide. Forgot to put a period there. So your ingredients are going to be by weight. They'll consist of 75% saltpeter, or potassium nitrate, which is KNO3, 15% charcoal, and then 10% sulfur. You'll need 3 plastic bags, 3 to be exact. And this is potassium nitrate, KNO3. This is the brand I like to get. You could substitute interchangeably with sodium nitrate, which is sodium. NaNO3, which is sodium nitrate. And you're gonna have to use 75% of this by weight. Then you have sulfur. This is just a dusting sulfur that you put in your lawn or whatever, gardening. And you need 10% of this, 10% of your final product by weight. And charcoal, you need 15% of that. Now, there are different ways to make charcoal, but mainly you can just get a can, cover the can, preferably a metal can, because metal cans are conductive to heat and electricity. Metal can, fill it up with wood, cover it, poke a hole in it so it doesn't build up pressure. So pressure doesn't build up inside of it. And then put it in a fire, and then the wood will petrify into carbon. I'm not sure if petrify is the right word. It just seems like it, because that's pretty much charcoal is. It's just a whole bunch of carbon. That's why diamonds. You might have heard that diamonds are basically just carbon rings. And if you might have ever seen Superman crushing coal into diamonds, that's just because diamonds and coal are just both made of carbon rings. So your first step is to place the saltpeter in the grinding bowl or a mortar and pestle or blender. And if you want to put it in a blender, do not worry. It will not blow up or light on fire. It will just, because right now they're all separate. And then grind it into very fine powder. Do this to all the potassium and sodium nitrate and store the ground powder in one of the plastic bags. Why do you do this? This is so that it would be easier. This will be an easier mixture, and you won't have any lumpy things in your stuff, which will mess up your black powder, because it won't be able to mix if it's lumped up. Do the same thing to the sulfur. Step 2 is to do the same thing to the sulfur and charcoal, storing each chemical in a separate plastic bag. Why? so the mixture will be easier to mix. So step 3, the final step, is to empty the plastic bags into some separate bowl. I was just messing with you with the plastic bag idea. That was just to make you feel cool, like you actually knew shit, to be honest. Uh, Mix the compounds by weight: 75% not a saltpeter, 15% charcoal, 10% sulfur, and do this all in a mortar and pestle. And voila, you have gunpowder / black powder. Now there are some warnings to this. Black powder can be permanently ruined by water. This is because it's a mixture of saltpeter, potassium nitrate, KNO3, which is KNO3, sulfur and charcoal, and saltpeter is water soluble. If you get it wet enough, the saltpeter can be completely washed out of the mixture. This doesn't always happen. The 19th century industrial manufacturing process for black powder involved deliberately dampening it to make it less dangerous during manufacturing, and to make saltpeter crystals form inside of each particle of the charcoal. They were careful to use only just enough water. I will actually be showing that video next up. But yeah, water will completely mess up your black powder. You cannot light it off in water. You cannot put it in water because it will just ruin it absolutely. That is a warning. And another warning is to not make sure you do not put it in a metal container, because metal containers conduct electricity, and you do not want any static electricity, because that will set it off. All right, Chef Ma'am, signing out. And if anybody has any problems, don't mind contacting me. You can always contact me by my email. I'll explain anything you want if you have any confusion. So yeah, Chef Ma'am signing out.